didn't expect to be on my own again this soon. I think that's the strange part about it. You don't really see it coming. I was in a relationship for quite a while, and then it just sort of ended. There wasn't really a big reason for it, nothing dramatic. It just faded. And I think what I didn't expect was losing people at the same time. You're losing the person that you've spent such a huge part of your life with and a huge amount of time with, but a lot of friends I had kind of brought in and they'd become our friends. And then when it ended, they just sort of stopped talking to me. Some friends carried on speaking to me, and other friends drifted towards my partner. I never really understood why. Nothing happened, nothing went wrong, there wasn't a fallout, there wasn't anything like that, they just faded away. A bit like the relationship. It just felt quite strange. And it's weird going from seeing someone, whether it's your partner or your friends, most days, every day, living with your partner, to suddenly having a huge space where that used to be. Where you used to have somebody to speak to when you come home, when you used to have somebody to message during the day, update what you're doing, or even just a friend to go out and talk to. The days feel different, quieter even, longer somehow. You don't really realise how much space someone takes up in your life until they're not there anymore. I've just been trying to keep myself busy, really. I think that's all anybody can do. You just have to keep moving forwards, and eventually some kind of routine comes back. You remember the things that you used to enjoy before you were in a relationship, the things you used to do before there was somebody else. Anything to fill the time at first feels like a huge bonus, but as time goes on, you start to drift back into old routines, remember old things you used to do, and suddenly it does start to become easier. It's something that happens to everybody in some way or another, and perhaps that's why you're watching this video now. You lose people, things change. People find different friend groups, you gravitate towards different people through your life. I doubt you're friends with the same people now that you were 10 years ago when you were still in school. You might not have even noticed the shift. Days, weeks, months, you can just gradually grow apart until eventually you don't speak to that person again. You might see them out and about and talk about when you were friends, but people just drift away. As you grow as a person, things change. Who you look for in friends and partners changes, not necessarily dramatically overnight, just subtly over time as you change as a person. Conversations stop, things go quiet, and you don't really know why, you don't really know when it happened. Just suddenly they aren't a part of your life anymore. I think that's the part people don't really talk about, how different everything feels when it goes quiet. After a relationship, this feels even worse, I would argue, more compounded. Especially if you can't explain why, there's no reason to really explain to yourself why. You're just left trying to answer that question, and perhaps there isn't an answer. You can't explain something where there's no rational reason, no one defining factor. It just didn't work out. For me, that change happened a few months ago, and at first I was completely shell-shocked. It takes a while for anything like that to sink in, especially if you're not expecting it. And you look around and people who were your closest friends, suddenly you don't hear from them anymore for no real reason, just they've gravitated towards the other person, and that's okay. It happens. It's just part of having friends and being in a relationship. It doesn't always stay the same after a relationship ends. But that sort of mindset and that phase doesn't last long. All of a sudden, only a few months later, I've got a completely different friend group of people who I wouldn't really speak to before, and the only way to get that is by putting yourself out there and making a conscious effort to speak to people and try to build a connection and a friendship with people. And the only real way to do that is time. It's seeing that person multiple occasions and talking to that person over a period of time. And it's exactly the same as a friendship ends. You don't really know when you became friends, what moment that was that suddenly you've got a new group of people that you see every day or talk to every day. It just happens, and suddenly you're in a completely different space, in a completely different group of people, and you've got a completely different mindset. The way of looking at it is, I always think things do happen for a reason, and who you surround yourself with can have a huge impact on you. Sometimes you don't even realize it, but a group of people who you think are good for you perhaps aren't, and a group of people you don't know yet could have a huge impact on your life in a few weeks or a few months' time. But the only way to find that out is by making an effort to build these connections with people and taking a chance that, yes, you may not actually get on that well, or you may not end up having a great friendship or a long lasting friendship, but you wouldn't know that if you don't put an effort in to try and meet new people and to make an effort to get to know people. I don't really think there's a right way to deal with it. You just have to take it day by day, and gradually the silent spaces get filled with other things, and that might be other people, it might be new hobbies that you've got time for, or whatever you fill it with, whatever you decide to use that time and that space for, you can turn it into something really beneficial to yourself and grow as a person from that experience. Is a healthier way of dealing with it than just sitting with those feelings and dwelling on it. Of course, you do have to spend time and reflect, but you also need to put effort into growing as a person and moving forwards. And it can be hard, but you just need to take it one day at a time. Eventually, it just switches overnight for no reason at all. Maybe not everything needs an answer straight away.